It was not easy. Like for me, I struggled a lot because it was I would get sober and then I wouldn't, and it was going on and off for like years. So it took I think it just took a lot of like pain and suffering, I guess, to actually get me to like be like, all right, like that's it. And like I did was doing AA for a bit. I would go on and off with that, and I mean, yeah, it was a constant battle for me. So, but eventually, just was like, all right, enough is enough. Like my family, my dad struggles with it still, and it's like heartbreaking, to see what drugs and alcohol do to like a lot of good people.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like addiction is addiction in general is such a crazy thing because a lot of it is like psychological and mental, and it's like very probably like while there are things that are common throughout, it's very like inside of the individual. um like each person has their own little like version of it, if that makes any sense, and their own like version that they have to tackle with medicine that is going to work for them in their own way. So it's kind of like a crazy thing to approach, and especially for like anyone but the person to fully understand how they feel and like what they're going through. That's a crazy thing. It's awesome that you're at where you're at now. How long have you been sober for?
Um, I about 3 years now, like fully, because I had like a couple slip ups. But yeah, before that, like I had a couple years too. But it's just like um, I think a lot of stuff too is like a lot of mental health. When that gets brought up, because a lot of people with mental health issues just drown it out with like substances. So it is like a tricky subject because you don't know what people are going through internally, and uh, to there's just get people abuse like substances for different reasons.
Yeah. So what do you do today? In terms of like your daily routine or like your daily life, if there was a point when you were like drinking a lot and doing all that stuff and now you're not, is there anything take its place? You know, like making a living off of skating, you probably have like more free time or like time to decide what you want to do than most people. So what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
um I just keep busy, like I skate a lot, go to boxing a lot. mm, there's a lot of downtime with skating. I think that's like a lot of a problem for like a lot of skaters too, is like dealing with the downtime. But I mostly just keep busy. Like I do a lot of stuff. I physically exhaust myself, and uh, I go about it like I've just exchanged bad habits for good habits now, and a lot of discipline.
So you're boxing and skating at the same time right now?
hmm
How's that?
I mean, it's tiring too. Like, uh, it's hard to balance both of them at the same time, because it's just like I love skateboarding so much too, and if I'm boxing too much, it hurts my skateboarding, and if I'm skateboarding too much, I'm not boxing. So I've been trying to balance it out a little better. Um, when I'm not skating, I'll go to boxing, and when I am skating, it's like I just focus on that too. But for me, it's like I'm an obsessive person, so uh, need to find like a better system to it. But I have been doing both like pretty uh, persistently.
Yo, respect, because that's a I've tried to do that, and I'm not a fucking pro skateboarder, or you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
I don't have to do that. I don't have to skate, and I don't have to do it on like a crazy level. I could just go outside and sit on a bench. You know what I mean? And I feel like for me, it was and is difficult to maintain any type of balance when it comes to that shit. Extremely hard. Like,
Yeah.
because I'll often think of myself as like a thing. You know what I mean? I'll be like, oh, I'm like a skateboarder, or like, oh, I'm like a boxer, like, oh, I'm like a painter,
Yeah.
or like, oh, I'm a graffiti writer. Like, I can't be skating too much, like, cause then what am I? Like, it'll be like a super subconscious thing. So I feel like that for me has always been like a thing. When you're boxing and skating, do you ever think that? Because boxers, like, they dress and look like the culture is just completely different from skateboarding,
Totally.
and the people you're surrounded by.
I think like skateboarding, and it's like I am a skateboarder, you know? Like that's who I am. I've always been a skate rat, like always will be. And I think boxing is just one of those things where it's like I've never been very like passionate about something besides skateboarding. So to me, it's like it's worth investing like that much time and everything, but like I don't consider myself a boxer. Like I don't fight amateurs or anything, even though I would like to. But that's like a whole different thing. It takes a lot of like time, and like if I want to do it, I want to do it to my fullest ability too. So, but for the most part, like yeah, like I consider myself a skateboarder who enjoys boxing.
That's so. What was your first when you started skating? You know, eventually you ended up starting to ride for companies and shit. What was the first setup of you riding for companies, and how did that happen?
Um, well, it wasn't like I had a long period of time where I was just getting random stuff. My homie Donovan Piscopo, who he rides for Nike and hockey too. I was kind of just like when he would ride for something, he would help me out with like some stuff. But that one in a million show kind of helped me get my foot in the door with Zero, and I was getting stuff from Vans too. So I would say like having done that contest and everything was like my start in skateboarding. Before that, there was like not much going on, you know.
Yeah. How was it when you started that? Did you feel obviously you were probably extremely hyped, but then once you started doing that, did there ever come a point where what was like the drawing line of you being able to like make more of a living off of skating?
It was tough at first because you're not making much, you know. And I was working. Um, I was working pretty much full time and trying to skate on top of that. And it got to a point where I was starting to travel a lot with Zero, and it was like I'm either gonna do this or not, and I just decided to focus on skating.